the minutes. I don't know if anyone, we'll take a minute and have Tanya, I saw you're here. You want to take over?
No, no, why don't you keep going? And I apologize. I was trying to participate by phone and you can't be promoted to panelist, maybe. I don't know why it was automatically rejecting it, but I'm now operating through the Zoom program. So,
Oh,
but why don't you
perfect.
keep going, Debbie? You're doing a great job.
After the minutes, I will hand it over to you. Okay, so I think we should take a minute to look at them since they just came today.
They're also in draft form. I don't know if Tanya's even had a chance to look at them. So we may want to punt approving them until next month, or I don't know, whatever you want to do.
So I would say, why don't we review, because you're right, I did not get a chance to review it and circulate today. So why don't we review it and approve the content and allow for formatting as needed,
Mm.
if that sounds okay to everybody.
I'm reading through the minutes here. What is MDR?
Oh, that's an acronym abbreviation for Municipal Decarbonization Roadmap.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
why you say MDR.
So, how is everybody? Are you ready or do you want to look a little longer?
Uh, just a question here. We haven't had our climate action plan committee hasn't had a meeting, I guess. Do we have a chair? Are you chair, Debbie? Or
Yes, yeah, I'm going to make a little bit of a report tonight on that.
okay, very good.
Yeah, yeah, we have not had a meeting. December was off the wall, so.
Right.
So I think these are excellent meeting minutes that I'm reviewing for the first time. And I would make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes and allow for uh,
Formatting.
myself or somebody else to finalize them with consistent formatting and then submit for posting.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. I think it has to be a roll call. Aye, Debbie Cook.
Hi, Chris Aldeson.
Hi, Tom Daly.
Hi,
I'm
Steve
Martha.
Wenner.
I'm Martha again, Jimmy.
I, Tanya Bodell.
Okay. It sounds like it was unanimous. I think that was um there's what six to zero. Um, okay, so Tanya, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So the solar energy array procurement subcommittee report. At the last meeting, as you saw in the meeting minutes, we voted to establish a subcommittee, and we have the volunteers for that subcommittee, and we have not yet met. So it's on us to meet before the next meeting. We have been staying in contact with the schools, and I think the key thing we need, Julia, from you is, will we be working with you or Michelle for purposes of a procurement?
So I believe procurement has been primarily is now being handled by Lisa McGonigal with like special assistance from Michelle Leary. So with any questions you have, you can either forward them to Lisa directly with me CC'd, or you can send them to me and I can pass them along to Lisa however you feel comfortable.
Okay, I think maybe what we might want to do is meet as a subcommittee with Lisa and you and
Okay.
talk about a path forward for the procurement. Because we'll need to also establish an evaluation committee, and we can take the documents that have already been used for procurement in 2020 and update them, but there's quite a bit of effort that's required, and I'm sure Lisa may not have gone through this process before with respect to solar energy arrays.
Yeah, we can set up a meeting date.
All right, so could you do that with her and just send an email out to everybody who was identified as being on the subcommittee? That's Tom, Chris, Doran, and myself.
Yes.
And I think once we meet with her, we'll get going. In advance of that, everybody should, when you send out that email, perhaps you can reference the Alternative Energy Committee webpage that has the documents that we had put forward before. I think those are still on the website.
Okay. Wait, I'm sorry, which specific documents on the AEC webpage?
I think unless we took it down, I think we had all the documents in one place for the solar energy array procurement,
Mhm.
but it might have closed. So why don't you see if it's there? Michelle should have a full copy of those documents. So if it's not on the webpage, if you could work with Michelle to get all of the documents that we used for the procurement and then
Mhm.
circulate it around to that group in
Mhm.
advance of our meeting so we can talk about a plan going forward.
Okay. Yeah, I will work on gathering that information.
Okay. And I also want to say again, and we did talk about this last time, it may be that the Osgood roofs are too small, but it is a good opportunity now that we've gotten a renewal of the permission from the town to go through the process again and to see if the school committee has any ideas about specific locations where they might want carports in addition to the roof. So we'll probably do a more comprehensive procurement request as we did last time and try to get market information as well as the ability to move forward quickly in conjunction with the school committee playing a more proactive role on establishing locations that they'd be comfortable installing carports.
So Tanya, is there typically a minimal size? Is that before something like this, or for somebody who'd want to do this project with us?
So it's not so much a minimal size before they'd want to do it, although bigger is better. I think it's a question of making the best of the economics.
Right.
There are some economies of scale associated with installing solar energy panels. And so if we can do a bigger project, it's more likely to save the schools more money.
I'm just wondering if the mass law requires all, I guess it's not new construction, but if it requires construction to be solar ready,
Yeah,
does it
so the
have to
answer is it
be?
does. And the Osgood roof is, as part of the design, going to meet that definition of solar ready. But solar ready means simply that there's a conduit that you can effectively plug the solar energy array into.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a structural thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and the
interesting,
school
Tom.
roof,
So,
there might be structural issues, but also shade issues, and there's definitely
Right.
minimal space on the Osgood roof once you
Yeah.
identify what's where and where shadows are going to fall.
Well, and then there's the complexity of the construction, right? The rubber vapor barriers and all of
Right.
that.
Yeah.
They can't be permeated.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue and hurdle I think that we're seeing with the Osgood roof, which is it's really not a roof replacement. It's simply a refurbishment of the existing membrane.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go forward and do that, the last thing that the warranty wants or the school wants is for a solar energy developer to come in and start poking holes in that new membrane. And even a ballast system, since it's on top of the roof, may not be sufficient because of the potential winds.
That's not a ballasted roof though, is it?
No, I'm saying a ballast based solar,
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. Okay.
as opposed to, connecting it to the joists
Yep.
on the roof. The ground
Insurance
mount.
companies don't like ballasted systems on the roofs because
Correct.
winds have a tendency to blow the system and the rocks and whatever's holding it down off.
Exactly. So that said, we have the permission from the town to move forward with this. We have a very supportive superintendent who is looking for ways to save money. A core reason that the schools went over budget last year was because their energy costs were way above what they had budgeted. And so there's a strong appetite for finding a solution. And there's, I think, an openness due to a more educated school committee from the ongoing process and working with us that they're aware of what's required and may take a more proactive approach, we hope. So identifying, meeting with the school committee, continuing to work with the superintendent, reporting out on what we've learned and asking them if they are comfortable with us proceeding with a procurement for Osgood and Deer Hill, and asking them to identify specific locations where they might want the developer to put ground mount or carport solar, I think is part of the plan.
So are we going to add ground mount into the investigation too?
You mean the procurement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, into the investigation of potential sites.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure that language is included.
Well, it's not investigation. We're going to ask the school committee to identify areas where they would be comfortable with the developers providing an offer on installation of solar energy panels.
I guess I'm sort of saying the same thing, that the ground mount would be included in that
Yes.
potential. Yeah. Okay, good.
The ground mount on the schools. So we have permission to do that, and from the town meeting vote. And we would work with the schools. Last time we submitted multiple offers to the schools, all of which would have been economic and saved the schools at least half of their overrun if they had proceeded, but they didn't like the aesthetic look of having the carports right in front of the entryway of the schools. And so they're, given what the exercise has been in looking at where the buses can park and other things, they may have some ideas about where we could put maybe a new parking area, or they put the new parking area and the developer comes in and puts in carports or whatever. So that's what we need to work with the school on. And if they're comfortable proceeding, we'll do the procurement. If they're not comfortable proceeding, then we just won't waste our time. Because last time we received very detailed offers, none of which proceeded. Mainly because of the age of the roofs in the case of Deer Hill, but also because of a dislike of the location of the proposed carports. So I think this will be a very different process. This one will work closely with the school to make sure they're comfortable with things before we go out to procure.
Do we have any idea how much power we can get off of an array on that roof?
I think only 250 kilowatts.
Okay.
And again, it has the problem of how you're going to attach it to the roof.
Yeah, I'm looking at an aerial shot of it now. It's a nice facing roof, but
well, that roof we cannot put it on. So if you're thinking about the southern facing sloped part of the roof, that
yeah, I was looking at the flat roof.
Oh, okay. The flat roof. So what's interesting about that roof is it slopes up and then it goes down. And so it makes like a
Okay.
valley.
Yep.
It's a different altitude than the roofs. And the roofs themselves are not structurally strong enough to support solar panels.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we are limited to that rectangular area on the roof, which has a lot of things already there. And the designer has looked at where panels could go, and they are going to make it solar ready. By law, they have to, even if it won't support the solar panels. But the replacement of this roof, because it's basically simply redoing the membrane, the solar would have to somehow create structural supports that would not be able to drill into the membrane. It just may be too difficult, but we'll put it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to not encumber all the air handling equipment up there too.
Exactly. There is a video somewhere. I don't know if it's in that section that may have been removed, but there's a video somewhere of a tour of the roof that we did as part of the procurement process in 2020. Normally, the developers will want to go on top of the roof and take a look.
Mhm.
And because of COVID, that wasn't allowed. So we basically did a live video feed. And my two children were on the roof of the schools with their video cameras recording.
Tanya, I've read that solar panels are becoming lighter, thereby making them easier to put on roofs. I don't know. Have we looked at the most recent solar panel rooftop arrays? And
Yeah, that's not the issue,
Right.
Steve. The issue is how are we going to attach them to the roof?
Okay.
And that's where the membrane becomes a sensitive issue.
Okay.
I think the other thing is because they are lighter, unless they are well attached, they could fly off with
Yeah, the
wind.
wind loading is really important.
But again, I think working with the schools and getting what they're comfortable with. But this is what this subcommittee is going to do. I think what we need to do is start off with a conversation with procurement, make sure we have all of the documents from 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, have another sit down conversation with the superintendent, identify what she thinks is the best approach for finding areas. It might be through her at the school committee meetings that they talk about where they might want to put solar panels on the school property, if not on the roof. And then once we have that information, we can go out and procure.
And Tanya, what is the deadline for the a certain action happening? Is this discussion the start of the action and we qualify, or?
So this is the start of the activity. We'd have to get the buy-in of the school committee, which could take 1 month, 2 months of discussion. It depends, and how interested they are. If they're not interested, things take a lot longer. And then we could put it out to bid. And as long as the project is completed by the end of 2027, it would still get the 30% investment tax credit.
Oh, really? So it's a complete date, not a start date.
The complete date, yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
It's an or. No, it's an and. There is a mid 2026 date. I think it's an or. No, it has to be complete by 2027 or it doesn't get the credits. So that's the driver. But we would have to, I mean, the best opportunity for installing the solar panels is to be working hand in hand with the replacement of the roof. Or if it's not going to be on the roof, to do it during the summer. So we're right on time. Again, getting the town's permission in the fall at the special town meeting in December was key. So now it's up to us to keep moving the ball forward.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's it for the solar energy. Any other questions about that? All right, Julia, town staff report.
So regarding the charging station, the rip and replace program, I've been periodically checking in with East Coast Renewable Energy. And I emailed them last Tuesday and they got back to me on Wednesday, New Year's Eve. Um, and Jim McGrath, um, of East Coast Renewable sent an email back, which was lengthy and definitely they're frustrated on the state delays. They did meet with Mass EVIP. Nick Valori, I think, met with them on December 12th. And I don't think it was very successful, it sounds. So um, he is actually urging us to contact our state rep or state senator to complain. Um, I'm not entirely.
What's the issue? What would we complain about?
So he said that they've just been delaying the applications. He's tried to reach out to chief of staff, and there's been struggles with that communication. I don't know if they're just having lack of communication on this program's end.
And
Um,
who's they that they're trying to
so
communicate
East Coast
with?
Renewable, and they're reaching out to EVIP Chief of Staff, and they're also reaching out to the state rep on
Hey,
Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Coordinating Council.
hey,
Um,
Julia,
yeah,
wasn't this being transitioned to National Grid? Last month you said something about the program was being transitioned to National Grid.
they did mention that. Yeah, they said that it was going to be like the approval process was going to shift and be a part of National Grid's umbrella. But he didn't say that. Well, he mentioned that in his previous email, and then but he didn't bring that up in this new latest email. So I don't know. Debbie and I had talked about this earlier about maybe the AEC drafting some type of letter to maybe a state rep or state senator.
Can we,
Ex-
before we do that, can we get the full story? Can you, can the MOU team find out what the status is and whether National Grid is taking the lead on this, either for
Yeah.
funding or managing the program or handing out the grants?
Okay. Yeah. Debbie and I have a meeting upcoming with Amanda Formica. I think that Debbie is that.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd
Yeah.
be great. If you could definitely put that on the agenda, because I think before we start writing an email or writing a letter to our representative or the EVIP program, I think we need to understand what the status is of that program. And the other thing is, as you know, tons of funding has been being pulled, especially on the green investments and grants. So there's $20 billion that is stuck at Citibank, for example. This is public, that the EPA has put a halt on. And so Citibank is like sitting on billions of dollars that was supposed to go to investments in green infrastructure and sustainability programs. And they have put a pause on those payments. So it may be also that some of these programs are not receiving the funding that they thought they were going to be getting, and as a result are sort of in a limbo where they don't know what to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I
again,
mean, obviously, no letter would be sent without doing research into the actual status of, of the situation and also without the committee's approval. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, look, from his perspective, he just wants to get the money so he can move forward and make his profit and keep his business going. But I think we need to be a little bit more, we can empathize with that, but we also have to be a little bit more cognizant of what's actually going on and where are the pressure points that if it's some silliness or bureaucracy, we can put in the letter or try to get things moving. But if it's a cessation because of outside factors, it may not be worth trying to expend our political capital.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no money, there's no money. I mean, or
Exactly. But the good news is we do have working chargers. We did renew for a year with ChargePoint. They're working well, at least the ones that I'm using. Steve, I'm sure you use them
Yes,
all the time, right?
they're working fine.
Okay, good.
And me too.
And Debbie, still the best deal in town other than Stop and Shop.
Yep. Yep.
So, it's sort of nice having all the level 2 charging opportunities in town.
Totally. Okay, so
All
we'll make that an action item is to look into sort of what the holdup is, do some research into the RIP and replace program, and then draft up a letter for the committee to review. Is that
That's perfect. Good
okay?
action items.
Okay, action
I'm
item.
I'm sure we will see those boxed in and in the back under the relevant people, thanks to Martha's excellent note taking. All right. Thank you, Julie. That's a great update on Rip and Replace. Do we have anything on the grants?
I don't have any updates on grants. Do you have any questions specific to any type of grant or program?
I
think-
do.
Yep, go ahead.
I think that you had a meeting in December, right, with National Grid with Amanda Formica. And she usually gives you an update on what grants are coming up.
We did
But-
not. She just
okay.
got back from maternity leave
I see.
last week, and we
Okay.
haven't had monthly meetings with the other representatives who are kind of filling her shoes temporarily. But we are meeting with her at the end of this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
that
she-
and that Brian Joyce is still planning on going for that $500,000 grant.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
we pulled the Green Communities grant,
Yeah.
the one we applied for in October. And so I have not heard anything differently. So I can reach out to Brian and just get a status on the decarb grant.
So Julie,
And-
anything on the community education? Did you happen to look that over? And
So we are registered for the informal session on the 27th. And then
okay. Oh, we are registered, you and I.
I emailed them and let them know that we are interested in attending. And then they said that they would figure out who's hosting it and then they'll send us a calendar invite.
Okay. So it's just to fill you in. This did come from Amanda as a grant opportunity. She's mentioned it before. I think we've discussed it before, and there are some I think some real logistical problems, which makes me feel like we're probably not eligible, but we're going to try to find out a little more, get a little more aggressive about, you know, digging a little deeper into this. But anyway, it's between $5,000 and $25,000 for community education for basically for the residential side, which would fit in with our MOU requirement. And it's funded by Mass Save, which is National Grid, basically. So and she keeps bringing it up, and I keep saying, well, it's supposed to be run by a nonprofit for, for environmental justice communities, and she'll say, well, you know, I think you still should look into it. So Julie and I are going to look into it, but just try to fulfill that aspect of the MOU, the residential education side.
Great. I mean, definitely if it's focused on environmental justice communities, don't expend too much time.
Right. That's why I'm thinking it's anyway, but
Yeah.
it will be an hour of our time. I think, that's just to get more of a sense, because I don't know that they've offered before an actual, a consultation like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Great. Excellent. Climate leaders discussion. Oh, sorry. Anything else? Sorry, I just skipped. Anything else on the town staff report? Julia.
Nothing further.
Okay. Any questions for Julia from the members? Chris might be getting to bed early tonight. We are moving through this. All right. Data report, solar energy array. Chris.
All right, so I have a quick follow-up from our last meeting. Let me share here. Share. Okay, you'll see a grid here.
Yep.
So you may recall that last meeting I sort of did a hypothetical of the arrays we're operating at capacity. What would our savings been? We got an email from Palmer yesterday that actually got a little more definitive what they expect with the new inverters being installed. And Palmer says that we should expect an output of about 600,000 kilowatt hours per year.
Wow.
And if you just take a look at the year to date, um, net metering credit of 24.8 cents, subtract what we pay Palmer, and multiply by 600,000, that would give us an annual benefit of $96,000. So a great deal more than what we're expecting here, or what we saw, as you can see here, in many of the past years. Interestingly, in 2023, despite having some impaired inverters, we got close to that $95,000 or $96,000. And why is that? Well, it's because the net metering credit was very high at 29.4 cents. So that's good news. In terms of the timing of the new inverter, that is imminent. Actually, the equipment is on site in the warehouse. There's some safety equipment that National Grid needs to install on a pole to make sure, I guess, bad things don't happen to the grid. That's being installed too by a third party. So hopefully we're within a couple months of getting back online and getting our savings rate moving again.
That's great.
That's
So
wonderful.
what has been the impairment? If
The
you take
impair-
what we're producing plus what we will be able to get back, are we down 50%, 25%?
Oh, well, I mean, of course, it depends what sort of rate you assume, right? So if you assume,
No, production.
well, 600,000, they expect 600,000 kilowatt hours per year. So you can see here, it's nearly last year in 2024, it was nearly 50%. And it started declining in 2023 to 455. So I can do quick math on my HV12C. Hold on a second. To 600 to 455. That is a decline of about 25%. And then 600 declining to 350 is a decline of 42%. And if you take a look at 2025, at three, let's assume we're going to do three, well, that's the whole year, 346. So 600 346 has a decline of 42%. So pretty significant, Tanya.
Yeah, that is. I'm going to make this an action item. Martha, I'm going to go back to our contract because there were minimal levels of output that were guaranteed in the contract. And I just want to see if I think we've been meeting those, but it's just surprising to me that the guaranteed levels were so much lower than the expected output. I mean, we've left a lot of money on the table because of these stupid inverters.
Yeah.
And so has Palmer. I mean, we both have been harmed by this.
Right.
And they're paying for them out of pocket. Like this is coming out of their profit. So, clearly I think there's a couple of things motivating this from their end, including a positive relationship with the town. But it's starting to hit their pockets where it must make economic sense to do the investment, but also to protect against going below the guarantees.
And just for grins, Tanya,
Yeah.
if you took a look at the chart at 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the high point of our net metering credit at 29.5 cents.
Mm.
In that year, we earned $94,000. And had we been at 600,000 kilowatt hours, we would have earned $123,000.
Yeah.
So that's nearly $30,000 more in that 1 year.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Chris, but you said that Palmer says we should expect 600,000 kilowatts hours per year.
Yes.
Was that recently that they said that, or is that what they said at the outset?
A couple days ago, they said
Oh,
with new
okay.
inverters, we should expect to get back to 2020. So given the age of the panels, which the efficiency deteriorates over the years, but he's saying we ought to get back to 2020 levels
Yeah.
of 600,000. It was 597, so rounded to 600.
Good.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
And the second item is the charge point report. There's really nothing. It's the same old, same old. So maybe, I mean, unless you really want to hear the same old report, we can move on. Everything's pretty
Just if you could
constant.
pull it up because Martha takes screenshots.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Or otherwise, Chris, could you just email it to me?
Yeah. I must stand there are procedures. I email all the screenshots to Martha,
Perfect.
but I'll
Thank
pull
you.
it up here. You want to see that, Tanya? But I don't want
Yes,
to
I do,
deprive
and
you
so
of.
do all the future people who are watching this.
All right, hold on a second. Let me first of all unshare this, right? Stop, share, boom. Okay, now where am I? I'm just gonna put you on pause for put you on silent for a second so I tell my peanut gallery downstairs to be quiet. Hold on.
We all have a peanut gallery.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so now let's see. Where am I? I'm at charge point. So I go to that's right. I had browser issues. There it is. Okay, now here we are. So I share. And there it is. Okay, you got it?
No.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, great. So let's see what's going on here. So unique drivers. Tanya, Deb, and Steve have a decent company. Another 85 people in town have chosen to use the system. So it's sort of a bit of an up ramp, and then in December a decline. Sessions, sort of same thing. And energy usage declined somewhat. And just let me cover the third item real quick, and that is I was charged with sorting out the getting to the bottom of sort of how much we pay for energy in town and describe the economics of these chargers. a little bit more clearly. And Julia has helped me get that process underway. And she and I will be having a conversation with our National Grid rep soon to understand the myriad of bills and at least two rate schemas that we have in town, and hopefully get a data set that shows the energy cost over the course of the last 12 months, and we'll report back to you.
That's great. Could you also just keep in mind as you're getting that data from National Grid and understanding it, that the first thing any solar energy array bidder is going to ask for is the energy usage of the town and of the schools in particular.
And of those particular schools in particular?
Yes, the particular schools in particular that
Okay.
are going to
All
be
right.
the subject of the particular RFP.
Okay, well, we'll be particularly specific with them in our particular meeting with them on a particular date. So we're good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
I think you have a future as a comedian in your retirement.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Tanya. Yeah, I could use that. I'm just wondering what to do.
We should have lunch.
I'm just joking. I have plenty to do.
I know retirement is like a magical imaginary fantasy of not having anything to do.
Yeah, not happening.
Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Chris, for your excellent work on that. And
Boom, gone. There you are. You're muted.
there I am. Sorry. I'm trying to get back to the agenda item.
I think there's just one more thing, which is the climate leaders discussion. That would be me, I think.
Okay.
Spring warrant article. Actually, I'd like to add a little bit to this under this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to kind of blend in, actually for climate leaders itself. I think the most imminent thing we need to do is to get that language developed and get on the warrant for the spring. So I think we should start now. And
Debbie, do we have the language from the last proposal? Do we need to change it?
they want us to beef it up. So they didn't feel like that
They
was
sorry, they
National
assume-
Grid.
no,
National
not
Grid.
National Grid. It was
Green Community. Sorry, Lisa Sullivan.
Lisa Sullivan said it wasn't strong enough.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that, the Climate Leaders Committee, which is kind of the same as the MOU committee, we could, beef up that and have it ready for the February meeting, and then make a big push to get that on the agenda. And I don't know I don't know how well it'll fare, but or whether even we should postpone it actually. When we're asking for a, net zero commitment for the town for 2050, I'm just not sure that, I don't know. Is there a sense from the committee whether we should table this for a bit?
I think the subcommittee, or members of the subcommittee most certainly could reach out to the leadership in the town one-on-one and just sit down and chat and find out what their thoughts are before we decide whether or not we should bring it to the select board.
Okay.
And again, I think we have the permission to move forward with a decarbonization roadmap for the town's municipal load. I suspect, well, if I were on the select board, I'd be interested in that first, just to get a feel for what can the town do? Like, can the town itself even commit to net zero on its municipal load before then asking the rest of the community to do the same?
Well, this warrant article would be only for the town, the municipal.
Okay, so this is for the town's municipal. So
It's
I'd s-
not for the residential. And this was needed, if you remember, it was because we wanted to get the technical grant that
right.
we would need to do, that would help us do the roadmap. But if we don't get the technical grant, I don't guess it matters whether we do the roadmap first and get this later. It was just that was what was driving the order of this.
Yep.
Is that what we were trying to get on the warrant last time around? Was just the municipal, not
Yes,
townwide?
just the
Ooh.
municipal.
And it's technically non-binding, the resolution.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah. And they just said it wasn't the right town meeting to get it on. So uh,
Huh.
anyway,
What about the specialized stretch code? We got to, if we want to make a push for climate leaders, we got to get the specialized stretch code passed.
you're totally right. You're totally right. I mean, all of these things, I don't know. It's really, I don't know. Pushing
Why
2050
I
why
think we
on
wouldn't
ought to
we?
go for it. I don't know why we're putzing
Yeah,
around here. Let's, let's give it a
why
go.
why why wouldn't we
I
go
think
for
it
it?
sounds like when Lisa was explaining it, like the actual um order of the steps as they're listed is like the best way to follow them. And then she mentioned that as the stretch code is a very challenging criteria to meet for a lot of towns that have pursued the Climate Leaders program, it's best to have those other foundational blocks in place before doing that. So if we follow kind of the general roadmap of like each item as they're listed in the program, that might be a good idea.
Right. I was
So
just saying though,
so what's
asking for the climate commitment right now of asking the town to go municipally net zero by 2050. The roadmap is really an avenue to reach it, but it's different than asking the town to make the commitment. So in that case, those two I think could be, maybe changed in the order because we're not looking for the technical assistance. Unless the grant comes up again, at which point then yeah, we would definitely want to.
so
And I
So
Julia,
can,
what is the order of the requirements? Do you know
yep.
how they're laid out?
So we already have a alternative energy group that
Committee.
meets regularly. We're already a green community in good standing. We have to establish a municipal decarbonization resolution, which can then, um, if you want to apply for the technical assistance for the municipal decarb roadmap, which is the following requirement, you have to have that resolution in place or have a climate action plan in place. Lisa said that in terms of streamlining things, the resolution is a more streamlined and less costly route for the town. Um, and then so it goes decarb resolution, then decarb roadmap, then it's
the vehicles,
yeah, the vehicle zero zero vehicle first policy.
yeah,
And then there's the stretch
stretch
code.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the components. So the question, so anyway, I mean, if we have, I don't know what to say right now with knowing the town a little bit, after 40 years. I mean, we can give it a shot and see what they do and say, right? I mean, who knows? You know, um, so
So
shall we
there's
just,
two ways to do this, right? One is try to get champions within the town and select board, town's leadership and select board that will back this. And if we can't get the town leadership behind this, then we're going to have the same experience we had last time, which is whatever the reason is, our proposal doesn't make it onto the warrant article. Right? I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to want the Alternative Energy Committee to propose a warrant article that the select board is going to vote against 5-0. Right? It just doesn't look good. Why put that egg on our face?
Right.
So I think one-on-one conversations to talk to the leadership in the town about what they think about this. Do they think there's appetite? Seeing what Michelle thinks. That would be the first approach to take. The second approach is a citizen's petition, which individuals on this committee are able to do as a citizen, but not as a part of, obviously, if it's this committee, it's not a citizen's petition. And so a citizen's petition, if people in the town are totally for this and supportive, then we can get it's not us doing it, but a citizen's petition could occur, which puts it on the warrant article. Again, at that point, the leadership teams will vote on it, and they'll vote on it according to, probably, unless they can be convinced, whatever they told us on our one-on-one conversations, their thoughts were on it. So those are the two approaches that could get this onto the warrant article. But it's just easier if there's champions at the leadership level.
Also, the citizens petition route, I think the deadline is probably February 1st. And that's right around the corner. You have to have 10 signatures. You have to have your language all done. There's a lot that has to get done before February 1st. So that seems unlikely. Also, I think, as Tanya was saying in the last meeting, we need to play nice. But it seems like, why wouldn't we do that? We tried last time. They said it wasn't the right time. This could be the right time.
We can try it, right? Julia, can you find out, action item for Julia, can you find out if the select board's going to ask the committees if they want to sponsor anything again? And then we can put forward the language. I think it's worth our while to pursue and finalize language tied to a net zero goal for the town, non-binding resolution, and the electric vehicle fleet, and the what Steve's been working on,
the stretch
code.
So I'm sorry, what is Julia finding out? If the
So
leadership
last 2 months before the special town meeting, we received a request I received a request in the email that basically said, as a leader of the committee of the town, could you please inform us whether or not you intend to submit a proposed warrant article by October 3rd? And there was a form to fill out. So I filled out that form for both the solar energy arrays on the school roofs and for the net zero non-binding resolution. One got on the warrant article, the other did not. We were not asked to come and present to them. I think the solar energy, what I heard was, look, they looked at this as just good hygiene. It's sort of good, right? We've got them trained in a sense, because they said, we've done this before. The town's voted for it before. We do this every 5 years just so we can keep it fresh and try to find the opportunities. Like, that's how they looked at it. In their mind, this was not controversial to go to the town and ask them to lease the school property for solar energy arrays. Like, that is a commentary on our hard work. That's how they looked at it. And that's how they wanted to present it. And that's how we presented it on the town floor, and it was unanimously accepted. So, or unanimously approved. So I think what I'm looking for is from Julia, because I'm not doing a great job tracking my personal email account, but looking at, are we going to receive the same type of inquiry of whether or not we want to sponsor articles? And I think there's no reason not to submit the 3 articles, but we need to have the language.
We would put all 3 in if they would have them.
If they would have them. And
Yeah.
I think having the conversations in advance would be helpful because it might help draft the language to address concerns.
Okay.
I
Wait,
missed
does that make
something. What
sense?
3 articles are we talking about?
It would be the net zero, going net zero, a commitment, non-binding resolution to go net zero at the town level, the electrification of the fleet, and the stretch code.
Wow.
I know. I know that I think the zero emission vehicle first policy doesn't require town meeting approval. I think it was just select board and
School
school
committee,
committee.
yes, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Because it's just they're purchasing, that they agree to purchase net zero. So we catalog what we've got so far, put up a schedule of a replacement schedule, and they try to adhere to buying electric when they can.
Yeah, and there's very clear language that gives exits. So if it's not commercially feasible, we've learned at this point from the exercise with the demonstration project for the electric school bus, unfortunately, electric school buses are not commercially feasible for the school right now. They just commercially can't operate them in the context of our tiny fleet. And I think what else we've heard from the chief of police is electric vehicles are not workable for their functions. They can have, I think they had an electric vehicle for the detective. That was fine. But as far as, the police cars, they can't, they just right now don't think it's feasible, commercially feasible to go electric. So I think there are exits, right? There are outs, and that commitment
Oh,
recognizes
yeah.
there are
Yeah,
conditions under
totally.
which we don't have to do it. So we have the fleet report. I don't know if we have an update of what the fleet is in town, but we should look at that fleet report that National Grid did for us and identify, how many vehicles actually do need to go electric to meet that commitment.
And we probably should talk to the capital budget committee or whatever and see about what kind of replacement schedule they're talking about. Right? That's
If
part
they
of
have
it.
one, yes.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So as far as my tendency, Tanya, is maybe if we had time, I mean, Martha, are you sure about February 1st being the citizen petition deadline?
95% sure.
95. Wow. I thought I'd have more time than that.
But
Um,
I think that we're better off going through our committee than going that route. We need to first build up that whole committee, all the citizens who are interested in volunteering. We need to get them on your committee. We need them to help us write that municipal decarbonization plan. But let's get this done first. Let's get the town to vote on it.
right, right. Well, that's why
Yeah.
I was, a citizen petition. I was just thinking, I mean, it's not hard to whip up 50 or 100 signatures or more. I've certainly done it before. Um, but I'm as far as one-on-one with a select board, I frankly don't know any of them right now. I don't, I would need uh, help in contacting them and seeing what they say. And um, I think probably some of you have relationships with them. That's why I'm thinking it's just a little harder.
Who are
for-
the select board members right now? Julia, can you pull that up?
Yes.
And maybe it's not just Debbie. I mean, maybe if we have a relationship, we can say we want to, we're going to individually go have a cup of coffee.
So Ellen Mayer, Chris Plex, Julie Rowlands, Paul Grady Jr., and David Farag.
I don't know any of them.
I know David Farag. That's the only one I know. So that's why I'm just a little, I don't, can we,
I think David Frog is possibly the most supportive of the things that we're doing. So it might be worth just seeing if he would back this, right? If he's not interested in being a champion for this or thinks it's the wrong timing, that could be the definitive answer right there.
okay. Well, I certainly could get in touch with him and talk with him about it.
Yeah, and Debbie, I'm happy to just, if it's about going and meeting them for coffee or even just, having a 15-minute discussion, I'm happy to come along too.
Okay.
Or and I'm also happy to talk. Who's the chair right now? Is that Ellen? I'm happy to reach out to Ellen as well. So when I reach out to Ellen
Okay.
in my capacity as the chair of the Alternative Energy Committee, in her
Okay.
capacity as the chair of the select board, and just meet with her and talk about some of these things and get her feedback.
Okay. All right. I think that's good. I think that's good. The reason I'm feeling like this, I feel like the climate is no pun intended, has changed since we talked about this a few months ago. I feel like the climate has changed, and um, that's why I'm just saying this. But on the other front, okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I will contact David Farag. We will work up the language for the warrant article so we can show them what it is. And it's just basically the language we have, but expanded a little bit, you know, based on what Lisa was saying, just given a little more robustness. So that's what we'll do. And then if we could do that, very shortly, I will be leaving town January 22nd for 5 weeks. So everything that I do will have to be online. But until then, I can sneak a few things in. And the other thing that I want to talk about under climate leaders, but you won't, is the MOU. And I had a conversation with Amanda, and we were talking about, the requirement to meet or to educate the residential. That's in the MOU that we have to do an educational program for the residential citizens and the small business and large businesses. So we mostly talked about that. I asked what kind of resources she could give us. And basically, there is nothing financial that they can do, but she can, give us speaker resources, and she can co-brand stuff with us, put their name on things, give us guidance in that way. So one of the things she said was a good way to start this would be to actually, send what other towns have done is to send a letter or an insert in the water bill or something which would go to all residences, um, asking them to do an energy assessment. And then from that, then you can build into some, different components like heat pumps and things like that. So, um, oh, by the way, I got a heat pump water heater today, so it'll be interesting to see how that runs. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, well, thank you. I hope it's as good as National Grid says, because the payback sounded really good. So I'd really like to kind of work toward on that. Is maybe that we start out. It's a very logical thing to start out with an assessment because most people, if they are going to get further help with National Grid, really need to weatherize and do all of that stuff before they move into um, heat pumps and everything else. So that it would require a budget and some planning. And um, so what I propose to do, see, it's just so hard when we only meet once a month. And um, I just had this conversation with her 2 days ago. So,
What would you like, Debbie? What's your
huh?
ask? What do
Well,
you need?
my ask is if the committee feels like that's a good way to start and whether we should think about, I was thinking about looking into putting an insert in the water bills and then about, sort of the printing and the funding of of that particular article, um, information piece. Amanda said she would co-brand it with us. So we would also need approval from the town to put the town seal and National Grid on it.
So
But
I
she
think,
said,
Julia, can you find out from Michelle if she is interested in having an insert, and then we have to go to, first we need Michelle to be comfortable with doing such an insert, talking to people, letting them know about Mass Save. Which I'd imagine everybody knows about Mass Save by now and has had audits, but maybe there are people who haven't. And you need to, it lasts for 2 years before you need to get another one to be able to get some of the incentives. So can you ask Michelle if she would support an insert in one of the town's utility bills regarding Mass Save and information so that people can get free audits, subsidized zero interest loans, and incentives incentives from the utility to pursue things that help them save money. And let her know that it could be co-branded with the town and National Grid. National Grid supports this. And it would be consistent with the Alternative Energy Committee's mission to help citizens, residents in the town understand how to improve their energy efficiency and examine alternative energy opportunities. Now, I think once you ask her if she agrees with that, and then we can bring it back to the committee to vote on that. How about that, Debbie?
okay.
Or we could vote on it now. If the committee wants to take a vote, we didn't indicate on the agenda that we were going to do a vote. So I think we should probably first find out if it's worthwhile taking a vote.
Haven't we
personally,
voted many times on things that weren't on the agenda?
We did, but if Michelle doesn't want to do it or doesn't think it's a good idea, or they can't do it until June or whatever, I don't know if it's worth a vote.
Yeah, certainly worth checking with Michelle. I kind of feel like we need to focus our energy on that warrant article. Because there's a fuse, a time fuse, and we should get that done. And I'm happy to help you if you need help with it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, that would be excellent. Um, no, I hear you. I was yeah, I think trying to, bite off different things and, because the whole first year of the MOU, we haven't done, the things that we said we were going to do. So I feel a little under the gun for that, but anyway. So, but let's just at least check with Michelle and and see what she says. And I've done that in the past And especially if it's something that's very, is obviously very light that doesn't change any of the weight. The real issue is stuffing it into the bills.
Mhm.
And
Steve,
there can be a cost to that. Because if they have to manually stuff the bills, then so we'd have to figure that out too.
well, we have no funding, but the town has funding if they want to pursue this. So I think the key thing is asking Michelle what she thinks about this and letting her know that it's part of our mission. It's also part of our MOU obligations to improve efficiency, and that's on the town to do whatever they can to do this. And this is a key action that National Grid recommends we do as part of the MOU to improve potential for energy efficiency in the town. So under that premise, I would strongly suggest to Michelle that we do this. And if she agrees, then the Alternative Energy Committee can take a vote and we can get it in the queue for an insert and then have the time to design it and work with National Grid on the branding and all of that. Steve, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I wanted to mention a couple of technology things that potentially relevant for the MOU.
Mhm.
One is a neat thing that I learned more about today, window-mounted heat pumps. Has anybody heard about these? So the idea is these look like saddlebags, and you drape them over your window with the compressor on the outside and the other uh, thing on the inside. So it's like a mini split, but it's right there. It's all self-contained. You plug it into a 110 outlet, and you don't need any technician or anything. It's very, very simple. They are commercially available, and Mass Save is financing a pilot program in Boston in an apartment house. It's an apartment house, 100 unit apartment house for seniors and those people with special needs. And I'm going to see how it goes. I called Mass Save today actually to ask them about it, and they don't offer help right now for consumers on window mounted heat pumps. But I anticipate in the near future that if this pilot program goes well, that they will. I think it's a great thing for people living in apartments. And it should be quite affordable and convenient. Doesn't require the expensive installation that many splits do. Anyways, I wanted to mention that it sounds like something that maybe National Grid could potentially help us with. The other thing I wanted to mention are a balcony solar. You've probably heard of those. They're very popular in Germany, and in Utah now they're illegal. Well, 350 Mass in Mass Power Forward is one of their priority things, is asking that a provision be put in the latest climate bill. It's in Ways and Means right now and being revised to allow balcony solar in Massachusetts. So I'm really hopeful that maybe that will get to pass. But I think these two things, the balcony solar and the window mounted heat pumps, will be something that many residents will find quite valuable, useful, and maybe National Grid can help us in doing this and promoting this idea. I don't know, but I wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Steve. I think this is perfect. Do you think it would be worthwhile having a speaker on each of those technologies come and present to the committee?
Possibly. They're two different things, so I guess we need two different speakers, different nights to present. I could possibly. There was an article, I forget, was it in the Boston Globe? I don't know, not in the Boston Globe. I've got a link to an article talking about this pilot program at this apartment complex in Boston. Maybe I can get the name of a potential speaker from there. But yeah, I mean,
Okay. Let's also think about, I mean, I was going to raise this on matters not previously known in advance, but in the context of the MOU, I was also looking at backup batteries, and National Grid still claims that they have a program where they pay under the Clean Peak Energy Program, people who have batteries, if they give control and give National Grid the opportunity to use it up to 60 times during the summer peak period. And the amount they're on average, I think they're paying residential battery operators $1,750 a year. I also was looking at the Tesla battery lease program, the Powerwall lease program, and depending on the size, you might be paying leasing it. It's a 12-year obligation, but you'd be leasing it for $150 a month. So the economics seem almost too good to be true, but I'd like to understand more, and maybe we have some of the battery providers come and present to us along with National Grid. Because if you do the math, you can see that the average payment that National Grid is paying to residential owners of the batteries would more than pay for, and that's a 5-year program, would more than cover the lease cost of the Tesla wall for the first 5 years. And then you'd have another 7-year obligation, or you'd have the opportunity at the end of 5 years of buying it out for half the price. So there's some interesting economics that seem to be creating arbitrage opportunities that could allow people in town to have backup power supply while decreasing the demand during the dirtiest hours of electrical output. So for that reason, maybe we also want to have some of those battery suppliers come and present to us, and then, do some more marketing on that for the town so that people know that this program is in place. And if we can also confirm with Amanda that National Grid is still offering this, because they did have a program where they were making payments, and I think it got oversubscribed and they stopped it. But this program still seems to be on the webpage. So I can send you a link, action item for Tanya, to send a link to the MOU team to ask Amanda to confirm that National Grid is still doing that program. And if they're still doing that program, that would allow us to then have one side of the coin, and then bring in the battery installers to give us the other side of the coin of what it would cost to install these different types of batteries.
Yeah, I mean so I did quickly, I know, the night is getting moving along here. But Amanda and I talked about, for example, after, sort of how after the letter gets sent out, which would also be backed up with kind of a social media campaign telling people they were going to get a letter, why this is still important, and follow up. And then after that, there are different avenues to go, which would be heat pumps, or in the case of Cohasset, which is, pretty sophisticated, like you said, Tanya, the backup batteries, trying to get rid of some of these horrible generators, and get the batteries. And so she suggested, once again, seminars and things like that. And we were also talking about maybe having a table, not maybe every week, but in the summer at the farmers market, with a vendor at it. And so there's a lot of different avenues to go with this, but that's kind of where we were talking about
Look, I think our speaker series, when we have a speaker, it does make for a longer night. So maybe we think about starting the call at 7. But the speaker series that we've had in the past has been very informative. And so having half hour for a new technology provider, developer, or other topic to be presented to us is part of the educational program. And then we can use that and do a marketing push an article with the link in Stroll or the Anchor so that the word gets out. So I think that can be done without any money.
Yeah.
It's just a question of figuring out what are the topics we want to have somebody to present to us on and have them come and present. But on the energy storage, National Grid's webpage has like 10 vendors that they will do the program with. 10. So Tesla is only one of them. Tesla does have the lease program. I don't think the others do, but there's always financing. It's just a question of the interest.
So maybe we should just, for right now, skip that whole letter thing and the cost and all of that and just go back. I mean, there's many ways to skin a cat, and we can do it with the educational program. Just renew it, add it to our webpage like we did, use social media to promote it. And I think social media is stronger now. The Anchor's stronger, Stroll is. So I think we have good opportunity to get more mileage from all of this too.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be the way that we could solve this. I think that might be a much better solution.
Yeah. And look, I think education, having information on the web page is very useful, right? It's not just useful for the people in our town. It also happens to be useful for others who happen to find their way to our webpage. So I do think that could help meet some of our obligations under the MOU with respect to education.
Yeah. Well, I'd be certainly open to that, and would be glad to work with the MOU committee to come up with, like Steve with his ideas, and Barbara to come up with speakers, and anybody else who wants to come up with a speaker idea, and we can arrange it, and we'll shelve the idea anyway of the letter.
Okay. Good. Anything else or questions for Debbie on this topic? All right. Are there any matters? We were very clever about getting our matters not known in advance underneath the MOU umbrella. Good job, Steve. And I took your lead and did the same thing. But is there any other matter not reasonably known in advance? Okay. Is there anything else that we want to put on the agenda for our next meeting? All right. I think we've got a lot of marching orders. There's going to be a lot of boxed in action items with a long list at the end from Martha. Thank you for taking such great notes and participating. And Happy New Year to everybody. I'm psyched for this year. I think this is going to be a very exciting year where the savings from the solar energy array are going to increase. We may have a strong warrant article placed on the for the town meeting in the spring. We're going to go out to procure potential solar for the schools, and this time they are going to be in the lead on helping to identify what they want to have done so we can help do the procurement for them. And we've got decarbonization roadmap also on our list and many more grant opportunities. So lots and lots to do. Thank you, everybody, for continuing to be an amazing part of this team. And I look forward to working with you in 2026. So with that,
Thank you for your leadership, Tanya.
Yes, Tanya.
well,
You
I
inspire us
keep
all.
saying, whoever would like to take over, we definitely can do a vote. And Debbie said, no, I told you I'd get the agendas out for you if you just stay. So I appreciate the opportunity. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this position and to be able to work with you and to be able to bring my day job into my night job, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
So
motion.
moved.
Thank you, Chris. There's a
I'll
second by Steve. All in favor, wave your hands. This meeting is adjourned. and we'll be connecting in the interim and then having our next meeting in February according to the list of dates that's been posted on our webpage. So thank you, Julia, for doing that. And thank you for all your support, Julia. We couldn't do it without you.
My pleasure. You guys are awesome. So happy New Year.
Yes,
New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Bye.
Ah.
Yes, that too.
Happy birthday.
And happy birthday,
you.
Steve.
Happy
Yay, and
birthday,
happy
All right.
Steve.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Chris.
Bye.